All right guys, I'm Andy, I work for Integra. So right now I'm out here in Kyrgyzstan and we're taking a look at Kyrgyz agriculture. For years and years and years, Kyrgyz farmers have used lots of chemical inputs in their agriculture. Lots of chemical NPK, fertilizers, lots of herbicides, pesticides, and things of that sort, which over a long period of time has actually depleted soils more and more and more, and the soil structure and health has declined a lot in recent years. But what if this land isn't dead after all? What if it's only sleeping? So now, together with our agronomists and our soil scientists, we have a mission to go find out the truth about these soils around Lake Issyk-Kul and see what we can do to make a difference. Our goal is to introduce a product we call Biofertilizer, which is essentially a fertilizer that contains a bacterial population which helps revitalize poor, depleted soils that have been over-fertilized and exposed to improper farming practices. But the catch, we only have the next 48 hours to make it all the way around the north and south side of Issyk-Kul and back to Bishkek again. Alright guys, we just arrived in Ananyevo, which is one of the most fertile agricultural areas around Issyk-Kul. They do a lot of crops like wheat, potatoes, alfalfa, rye, barley, things like that. They also do a little bit of strawberries and some fruit trees and that type of thing. But as you can see, the fields are very green around me. It's a very fertile area. And they get enough rain here. Most we're in the northeastern corner, or along the northeastern edge of Lake Issyk-Kul, and so a lot of the rain just comes over Issyk-Kul and piles up against these mountains right here, which leads to a lot of precipitation right here. When I was here in the winter, there was like probably 3 or 4 feet of snow on the ground. So they have a ton of snow melt coming down these mountains, which they channel to water to irrigate these fields. You can see right here, these potatoes were recently irrigated, still very wet, and all. So they have these big irrigation ditches that run down with water. So there's lots of water here, and they just get a lot of rain, more rain than most of Kyrgyzstan during the summer. So very fertile area. But we're gonna take some soil tests here, soil samples, some leaf tissue samples, and see what we find out.
All right, so I am standing here in the beautiful region of Issyk-Kul with the beautiful mountains behind me. Great place to be. So we're looking at this field over here. What we have, so we came here last fall, we came here in the springtime, and there's an area where on this half of the field, the farmer had applied the BPS fertilizer product, and on this side of the field, he had not. And so we discovered that a couple months ago when we were here. We noticed we did some soil testing to look at the differences. We saw about a 0.5% difference in organic matter between the two soil areas. And so now we are about 2.5 months later, and we wanted to come and see the plants. So we're checking out to see the plants, if there's any difference in the plant tissues. So we're taking some more soil tests and some more plant tissue tests to see if we notice any difference here. So that's what we're working on. Excited to see the results. Crops are looking good. And yeah, this is a winter wheat, and we'll see where it goes.
Now guys, one thing we are starting to notice is that a theme is beginning to emerge. We're noticing that a lot of the soils, especially around the Chui Valley region of Kyrgyzstan, which is around the Bishkek area, the soils seem to be very depleted and crops are not doing well at all there. This year there was a big drought this spring, and we've gotten lots of reports and seen lots of failing crops, including sugar beets, corn, wheat, rye, etc. However, when we're going to visit other parts of Kyrgyzstan, such as the regions around Issyk-Kul or farther south in Kyrgyzstan, we're noticing that the soils seem to be a little bit better off and crops aren't struggling so much. But we're wondering, what could the difference be? One of our hypotheses is that there actually is a difference in farming practices depending on what part of Kyrgyzstan you're in. What we noticed is that a lot of the farms in the Chui Valley region of Kyrgyzstan near Bishkek are a lot bigger, large-scale operations, and they're really struggling. Whereas a lot of the areas around Issyk-Kul or further south, around Osh or Botken, a lot of these areas are smaller farms, little family farms, homesteads, and that type of thing. And we're noticing that they're a lot better off. And our speculation is that these big operations closer to Bishkek, where there's big companies that are farming large tracts of land, they're relying heavily on chemical fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, etc. So what we're noticing is that a lot of these bigger farms, we're seeing that the pH is not at adequate or normal levels, that there's less organic matter, soils are less structured, and there's been a lot of problems this spring with the drought. All right guys, right out here, we are out at some safflower field trials here in Issyk-Kul, Kyrgyzstan. We imported some safflower seeds from Montana, and the local Ministry of Agriculture is actually testing them out in these fields, and we're trying to determine if this would be a good crop for Kyrgyz farmers to grow to help with their soils and their livelihoods. So we're testing 5 different varieties of safflower, one of which is ours that we imported from Montana, but we're talking to these guys out here right now, and we're actually not sure which of these 5 test plots is ours and which are the other 4 varieties. So yeah, we have a bit of a problem, but we're gonna try to get some clarification on that. All right guys, this is a really fun spot right here. I'm actually pretty excited to see this one. So we were back here in February and again in March. So we applied biofertilizer on these black currants up here. They run all the way up and there's a big patch up there. And they were dormant at that point and they've come alive and they're looking really good, really healthy. It is really awesome seeing this place so green here in June. It was a whole different world back here in February and March. But they've got really good crops coming up. They've also put in some drip irrigation lines here with some cucumbers, onions, peppers, tomatoes, and other crops. And you can see down below me. Another thing I'm really excited about is when we were here in February, we actually took some cuttings. When we were pruning these black currants, we took some cuttings and we cut them about this long. We dipped them in a mix of biofertilizer and dirt, basically made like mud. Dipped them in that, and then we put them under this black plastic right here, just in the soil, and kept them moist. And we're actually able to clone the plants. So now we have a whole bunch of new ones. We took the little clippings, they've grown roots and they've grown leaves. So they'll be whole new plants. So these right here are some of the sticks that we actually took prunings off of the bigger plants in February, and we dipped them in the biofertilizer and then planted them under this plastic, and they sprouted roots and started coming up. All right, guys, we made it back from our loop around the lake. I really hope that you did enjoy the video, and we will have lots more awesome updates coming out soon. Harvest is getting ready to come in soon, so definitely stay tuned. And if you want to make sure that you don't miss it, you can just hit the subscribe. You can subscribe to our channel, and that will ensure that you get a notification as soon as we release another update. Anyways, other than that, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.